let's talk about Dynamite, even though I don't want to. This was probably one of the weakest episodes of Dynamite in a long time. But, mostly it was just weak. It was a very weak, especially in the ring, it was very weak. In terms of angles and things like that, they were basically just setting the table for the rest of the run, I guess. But they certainly needed something more than what they gave us tonight. What am I talking about? Dynamite, AEW Dynamite, January the 3rd, 2023. Let's get into it. First, because this is AEW news and notes, and Kota Ibushi is all elite, you got to talk about Kota Ibushi, who absolutely destroyed his ankle in a Pro Wrestling Noah match against Naomichi Marufuji, who the name I haven't said in a long time. I haven't talked about Marufuji since he wrestled that series of matches against Kenta in like 2006. I forgot that guy still wrestled. It was like seeing Yoshitatsu. I think I saw a picture of Yoshitatsu on Twitter. It was like, Jesus, what a throwback. In any event, Kota Ibushi absolutely destroyed his leg in that match. I think it was his ankle, and it was on a moonsault. And he then continued to wrestle for another 30 minutes with a broken ankle. He couldn't even stand up. He was woefully out of shape. You could look at him and tell he was not in shape. There were AEW fans of Japanese pro wrestling that were watching that thing, and their stomach was doing somersaults. Many of whom were saying somebody needs to step in and pull the plug on Kota Ibushi. He needs to stop. And some even call for him to retire. There are people throwing in the towel on Kota Ibushi. They're ready to give up on him. And I have to tell you, it's beyond time. They probably should have did this like 2 or 3 years ago. He had I think a serious shoulder injury that kept him out of New Japan for a while he was a champion. He lost, and I think he had to give up the belt due to his shoulder injury. He never came back. He was never the same. His appearances in AEW have been lackluster, and they've been mostly 8-man tags where he can basically hide. And now he, destroyed himself in this Pro Wrestling Noah contest, and in a supposed dream match. It was, I wouldn't say it was the equivalent of, Goldberg and Undertaker getting concussions. I wouldn't say it was the same thing, but it was a match that actually interested me, until I heard that Kota Ibushi destroyed his ankle. And I just saw the clips, and I was like, "Oh, brother!" They continued the match even with his ankle in 100 pieces. Apparently, amazing. The worker safety in Japan. Anyway, back to what I was saying. Maybe people need to pull the plug on Kota Ibushi. It's probably beyond time to pull the plug on Kota Ibushi. His style has always been unsafe. For a long time, people have said that, the neck bumps and stuff like this, eventually his body was going to give out. He's 40 some odd years old now. Body takes longer to heal. You have to work harder to get in shape. Maybe Kota Ibushi needs to just hang it up. But it's simply put, I think it's an AEW curse, for Christ's sake. As soon as somebody signs a contract with AEW, their body start falling apart. It's almost like you sign a contract and it's like, Twisted Metal. You're doing a deal with Calypso. You get everything that you want, but in exchange, you have to give up your health, or your well-being or your mental state or something like that. And you just start just collapsing. But here's to Kota Ibushi. Hope he gets well soon. Poor fella. But that match was a disaster. I don't even remember who won. It was just a disaster. All right, the show starts with Samoa Joe cutting a promo saying that he's not a man with vision. He's not a man of prophecy. He's not a seer. He's not a visionary. He's just a man who likes to keep his promises. Then he says that MJF has stolen from him his rightful championship, and what he does to me, or what Samoa Joe did to him, he does back 1,000-fold. He turned everyone MJF loved against him, and then he says that you may be a scumbag, but I'm a heartless son of a bitch, and I'm always going to take what is mine. And then he's going to say, anybody who tries to take what is mine, I'm going to take everything from you. So Samoa Joe is very intense, really good promo. It was labeled that it was a promo after the show. So apparently it was after the pay-per-view. He didn't cut the promo live in the ring or backstage or anything like that. So it was very good. Adam Cole came out there and it started out with the, it's all about the boom. And then it morphed into something different with crowns and it said Undisputed. And I was like, that's interesting. Then they called them the Undisputed Kingdom. And I was like, that sounds derivative. That's plagiarism almost. Kinda. It's like I don't know, man. This is that's an interesting move on Tony Khan's part. Very interesting move. Anyway, Adam Cole got in the ring and tried to explain himself that he sacrificed everything for MJF. That he sacrificed his ankles for MJF, and that Adam Cole never needed MJF. MJF needed Adam Cole better than you, baby. That was him. He made everybody fall in love with MJF. He saved MJF's title run. Then he gave the mission statement saying that Roderick Strong is going to be the international champion. Well, the Kingdom are already the tag team champions. Wardlow is going to win the world title and then promptly give the world title to him when the time is right. Of course, Wardlow kind of had like a what look on his face as he said this. So then he says it was a pleasure doing business with Samoa Joe. And I was like, wait a minute. Why did you help Samoa Joe win the title again? What was that about? Why does if Wardlow is going to be the world champion, God damn it, why didn't you just do what I why not just have Wardlow be the guy that beat MJF in the first place? Why? All right, let's talk about this promo before we move forward. It didn't hit. It wasn't hitting. This derivative, Undisputed Kingdom. Nah. I mean, you already starting off on the wrong foot because you're trying to do something that's a knockoff of your WWE stuff. That's already, I mean, it can't be nothing good if Matt Taven's in it. Now, I'm not saying that, Bobby Fish was the greatest thing in the world, but this thing contains Matt Taven. That other thing contained 0% Matt Taven. And even though it had Bobby Fish and Kyle O'Reilly in it, at least they're okay. At least Bobby Fish has a little bit of charisma, a little. And Kyle O'Reilly, he may have negative charisma, but he's somewhat funny in how he sells and stuff like this. But Matt Taven is a bookshelf with a heartbeat. He's one of the most useless big dudes ever. But even though I'm talking shit about Matt Taven, he ain't got nothing on how useless a man Mike Bennett is. Mike Bennett ain't even a bookshelf. He's like stacked laundry. All right? Just filthy. He needs to just be taken out back and put on a line somewhere and just left to hang. Mike Bennett is awful. And he's a dork, which makes it even worse. Not just a shitty, pissy wrestler, but he's a dork, period. And he's a simp. He's all negative things. There's like no positive things. The only thing that's positive now is that apparently he's not on drugs anymore. But maybe he needs to take drugs because maybe that's where all his charisma came from. I'm so mad at Mike Bennett because for at least, I'll say about 2 or 3 years, I was fooled into thinking Mike Bennett was actually good, but it was actually the drugs doing all the talking. It was the drugs that had him coming out actually being entertaining and funny, especially when he was in TNA. He was the Miracle. I got down with that. I thought it was perfect for TNA. And I actually had the belief in my mind that he might do something similar in WWE, and then he got clean. And when he got clean, he just became a dry sponge. I was like, this is the real Mike Bennett? This fucking sucks. Look, I'm very glad that you're clean. Thumbs up. But maybe it's time you mosey on along. Just get out of here. Just bye. And now he's still here. Still hanging around. And not even a sponge anymore. This man is a desiccated carcass. Mike Bennett fucking sucks, for the record. And I can't put it any clearer than that. Matt Taven sucks. He absolutely does. Matt Taven, oh boy, he sucks. But he ain't Mike Bennett. Mike Bennett is different. All right. Yeah, Mike Bennett is something else. He's pollution. All right. He's very bad. So this whole thing is a disaster. I don't like this Undisputed Kingdom thing. It sucks. So after they go through all of this, Jay White comes out. He suddenly remembers that I'm part of this storyline too. You attacked me. You beat me up and all this other stuff. And then he says he appreciates everything they did to MJF. He just doesn't appreciate being collateral damage. You jumped me when I was by myself. Now I'm not by myself anymore. Here comes the guns. So the Bullet Club Gold, they attack the ring. It's only 3 of them, and it's for the Kingdom. They get the shit kicked in, of course, and then the Acclaimed run down there. The Acclaimed saved them. The Kingdom run off. The Acclaimed and Bullet Club Gold have a tenuous relationship. The crowd wanted everybody to scissor, but Bullet Club Gold said, we don't do that on the first date, and then they leave. And they leave the Acclaimed in the ring by themselves. Okay. Well, you had to do what you did. You had to do it. You had to have Jay White and the Acclaimed and all these guys get involved. You had to. Now, I forgot to mention, because I was so disappointed and disgusted by this promo Adam Cole cut, and I didn't really care about it. They're working off the idea that MJF is no longer there, that MJF doesn't work there anymore, and that you shouldn't care about MJF anymore because they ran him off. They destroyed him. They, took everything away from him, and then he left. He's gone now. That's the story, that MJF is gone. Okay. Because that's part of the bidding war of 2024 story, right? Is that MJF is leaving. He doesn't work there anymore. But I don't think anybody believes it. I don't think anybody believes that MJF don't work there no more. It's hard to do a storyline, that's supposed to be based off reality, and nobody believes it. If it was just a storyline for storyline purposes, like, hey, he's injured or something like that, I think people will be more apt to believe that. And I'm also okay with MJF not being there, because you want to give the heels some chance to gloat and talk, the typical villain monologue you see in a video game, cartoon, or whatever. Sometimes those things can be very useful. You have to know what the villain's plan is at some point. So they gave Adam Cole the villain monologue time, but I don't think it was very successful. If we're being honest, I really, as I live and breathe, I sit here and I still don't understand why he did this. I mean, it seems to be he would have done it to me kind of gimmick, but that seems to be, it's lacking. Let's put it like that. It's lacking. I really don't care, bro. I really don't care about this Undisputed Kingdom thing. It's very derivative. It's plagiarism. It's not good. It's not good, man. Whatever. Okay, let's continue through the show. Eddie Kingston has confidence now from the Continental Classic. Now he's smiling. It's a crooked smile. The streets is smiling, man. I saw people on the internet arguing. It was always arguing about Eddie Kingston, about whether he's just a fat guy or whether he's an athlete or whatever the case may be. I don't put Eddie Kingston in the fat and athletic group like, Vader or Bam Bam Bigelow. The light on his feet big guy. I don't see Eddie Kingston as being that kind of guy. I see Eddie Kingston being like, a guy getting into an argument on his lunch break. And, while he works at his pipe fitting job. That's kind of how I look at Eddie Kingston. I look at him like he's a brick mason who occasionally yells at somebody, during the shift. I don't really look at him like he's a offensive lineman or, something like that, a linebacker on a football team. There are certain guys who, they get away with that, but not Eddie Kingston. No. But he's got confidence now. He's happy now. He's feeling good. He beat his good buddy Moxley. he's feeling good. This Continental Classic got him light on his feet. The ham sandwiches, they taste so much better this morning. He drank espresso today. Anyway, they did a fatal 4-way match for the number one contendership for his championship, or I'm sorry, the Continental Crown. It featured Trent Beretta, Brian Keith, Brian Cage, and El Hijo del Vikingo. And of these group of luminaries, who do you think won this match? Oh, did you say Trent Beretta? Trent Beretta. Oh, you're going to watch that? Yeah, right. I'm not watching that. I might not even watch Collision this week because of that. It don't deserve for me to watch this show. Trent Beretta sucks. This guy sucks. And there's no way. You can't pay me to watch Trent Beretta wrestle Eddie Kingston. Why in the world you want to do that? So they're going to establish Eddie Kingston's championship by giving him a real soft opponent in Trent Beretta. Okie dokie, whatever. Dante Martin challenged Orange Cassidy for the international title. Orange Cassidy won the match. Of course he did. Why wouldn't he? Dante Martin always loses. Always. After the match, Private Party reunited. So Mark Quinn is still alive. Mark Quinn is back. He's wearing a very sweet fur coat. I had to give him credit for his coat. They said that the tag team division needs some flavor, and they're back and they're putting everybody on notice, essentially. And then Mark Quinn started humping the air, and I was like, okie dokie. Maybe we need to slow it down. But Zay, because he's not going by Isaiah Cassidy anymore, apparently. He even said that of all the tag teams he put on notice, this includes the Hardys. So now he's gonna throw the Hardys in the bin all of a sudden. He spent all this time riding their coattails, and now he's just kind of like, my boy's back, so don't need you anymore. He monkey branching, just like a hoe. I don't know what Private Party coming back had to do with this tag team thing, this international title. I guess because Top Flight is a tag team, but there's one a tag team match. So I don't know why they decided to show up here, but I'm just glad Mark Quinn is still alive. That's good. That's good for everybody. All right, Toni Storm is there. She says that she's upset. She thought this was New York. Turns out it's New Jersey. And she says it's not her milieu, so she will be leaving. She had Luther carry her out. So she walked out on Mariah May's grand debut and didn't want to stay and watch it. So Mariah May wrestled Queen Aminata and defeated her in this match. Queen Aminata, I've seen her, I think, twice before. I'm pretty sure I saw her on AEW before, but I also saw her on the Independents. She's okay. Clearly there's something there. She's very, statuesque, very chocolate. I think she's African or of, like directly African descended. Like maybe her dad is like, or her parents are like legitimately from Africa. So she has an interesting look to her. But they were not pushing her in this situation. So whatever. I think she's also going to be on Ring of Honor. So that ought to be great, right? She ought to enjoy that. So Mariah May, after the match, says she wanted to be a wrestler since she was a little kid, and she hoped that Timeless Toni Storm was watching and is proud of her. She said the only downside of this thing is that it happened in New Jersey. So she also said, negative things about New Jersey. This led to some different music playing. Everybody stood up and was like, oh my God, it's Deonna Purrazzo. It's Deonna Purrazzo. Deonna La Virtuosa Purrazzo. Yep. Look, I like Deonna Purrazzo. I ain't got nothing against Deonna Purrazzo. But the crowd was disappointed. And then they were like, oh, she's from New Jersey. Deonna. They were disappointed as hell. It was almost like the Jinder Mahal reveal, except there was no Rock. So it was like, Oh, okay. You got to make the most of it. It's like when you get something terrible for Christmas and you just be like, oh, it was, oh, you put some very sweet packaging on here. Thanks. Like, it's not even a problem with Deanna, but it ain't what they wanted. The internet's been saying for like 3 or 4 days now that Sasha Banks or Mercedes Moné was showing up. They had everybody believing she was going to be on this show. And then maybe like 10 minutes before the show, they was like, well, she may be there, she may not. We don't know. And then it's Deanna Purrazzo. There's nothing wrong with Deanna Purrazzo. You know? It's not like Deanna Purrazzo's bad. It's just not what you ordered. You know, damn, that's sad. I felt bad for her almost. It wasn't her fault. She wasn't the one that set this whole thing up. She just wanted the job. And hopefully that she, now is in AEW, she could turn things around. I don't see it mattering that much, if we're being honest. AEW has taken people who are more marketable and bigger stars than Deanna Purrazzo and ruined them. But we'll see how it turns out. In any event, Deanna Purrazzo took the spotlight away from Mariah May, says that she's from New Jersey, and the people of New Jersey don't want Mariah May or Toni Storm there anyway. But she says that she wants Mariah May to pass a message to Toni and that she will find her because now she is all elite. And we're in the age of the virtuosa. Mariah May says she is not a messenger, so tell her yourself, bitch. And then they got into a fight. And they fought a little bit before Mariah May ran off. Okie dokie. Not against this, don't dislike it. It just was a very lame debut. Very lame debut. You definitely could have built this up a little bit. Make people excited to see her. Like, I don't know. Like, it's difficult. It's difficult. You want to have some surprises, but you also need to build things up, You could have made her feel like a big star by, talking about her championships, her history, or whatever. I think they mentioned that she was a Ring of Honor Women's Champion, which I think the only match she ever had in AEW was losing that belt. That was it, Poor Deanna. Poor Deanna. Anyway, House of Black. They want to fight FTR in North Carolina to rip the hearts out of them. And said if they win, then FTR has to join the House of Black. They also burned a picture of Dash Harwood's family. Well, what are you doing? My daughter's in that picture. If the Native Americans, they believe that if you take a picture, it's still your soul. So my daughter's soul is in that picture. If you burn that picture, you burn my daughter's soul. How am I gonna make it? How am I gonna live? Anyway, Christian Cage comes out there and he's got the Waynes with him. Shayna Wayne gets on the microphone, demands respect for our father, which means hers too, which means he's like Nick Cage's grandfather and stepfather at the same time. I thought he was slapping them skins, but shouldn't she call him daddy instead of father? Father's creepy. Daddy's better. In any event, Christian got on the microphone and said he'd been champion for 200 days. Tony Schiavone tried to correct him, of course, and Christian told him to shut his mouth. He thanked Mother Wayne, Nick Wayne, and himself for him still being the champion. This, of course, got the crowd to start chanting Luchasaurus. He told him to shut up. The kid's name was Kill Switch. He then said that when it comes to Edge, he's now 2-0 over Edge and to the back of the line. No more title shots for him. Then he said this title is going to be his forever until he decides to hand it off to his progeny, Nick Wayne. And I love Christian. This is excellent. Shut your mouth while I conduct my business. This guy's tremendous. He's tremendous. Christian is great, bro. I don't know what the point of this promo was other than just to tell us that he's not wrestling Edge anymore. And to really kind of dig the knife into Luchasaurus. This was good, and I love anything Christian. If it got to do with Christian, it's good. With the exception of Luchasaurus, he sucks. And Shayna Wayne also sucks. And Nick Wayne also sucks. But Christian is great. A lot of these people suck, but Christian is very good, and he makes it work. Because how he bounces off of everybody, he makes it work. It's very good. Okay, Ruby Soho is still hanging out with Saraya and Harley Cameron. Now Harley Cameron is dressed like one of the outcasts. And she says that I'm real committed to this role. And then Saraya told her it's not a role. Ruby says that she's not sure that another crazy blonde is what they need, but she's willing to give this a chance. And I still don't understand why we're going through this. They keep doing Rampage stuff on Dynamite, and I'm not going to watch Rampage. Nobody watches Rampage, cuz. Just stick to building up shit on Dynamite, if you please. You know, like, we're going to talk about that near the end. There's a lot of people who are not on this show who probably should be. All right, so Daniel Garcia, he cut a promo earlier in the show saying that Swerve's song is Big Pressure. What does he think happens when you apply pressure to something that doesn't fold? And he says that he doesn't fold, he doesn't give up, he doesn't, fall down or whatever. Swerve says that big pressure ain't about making diamonds, it's about making pain. And that the two of them want the same thing, but after this match, he's going to go back to focusing on the world championship. So the main event of the show was Swerve Strickland versus Daniel Garcia in a completely dry-ass match, a bologna sandwich match that you knew Daniel Garcia had no chance of winning and should not have won, because why on earth would he win? Now, prior to this match, Daddy Magic, who was Chubby 2.0, the guy's not really fat. I keep calling him fat, but he's not really fat. He's just chubby. He got a cherubic face. In any event, he's backstage about to talk to Renee Paquette when he's interrupted by a raging asshole Hangman Page. And he says that he wants to beat up everybody. He wants to beat up Samoa Joe. He wants to beat up Adam Cole. He wants to beat up anybody because he's got a bad attitude. He got put through a windshield the other day. So Swerve, after Swerve beat Daniel Garcia, and Daniel Garcia promptly got hit in the nuts. Daddy Magic also got hit in the nuts. And then Hangman Page came out there. Hangman Page got into another fight with Swerve. He says, I want more of your blood. I need more of your blood. Your blood tasted so sweet. He was trying to sacrifice Swerve to Baal. So I don't know. He was out there, and I just kept thinking, he's going to drink your blood. He's a vampire, clearly. He's a vampire cowboy. That's clearly what's occurring here. They got into a fight, and then they got separated, and the show went off. So they're still doing this. Swerve is trying to be the world champion. That's what he's trying to tell us. I want to be the world champion. And Tony Khan is like, here's anything other than the world champion. You're going to fight everybody except the world champion. God damn it. Okay. I don't care about Hangman Page versus Swerve. I'm over that. The interesting thing about this match, however, is that Daniel Garcia tried to use a sharpshooter while on top of the commentary desk, and they both fell over. Hilarious. Big pop. Huge pop for me. What a pop. That was great. Daniel Garcia. Everybody keeps talking about, Tony Khan's committed to the young guys and putting them over. I'm thinking to myself, you're really not doing this kid any good. Daniel Garcia doesn't have any momentum whatsoever. He seems to lose every match he's in. I don't really see the benefit of him being in this position. Like, this match could have been the first match on the show. It could have been on the third match of the show. What makes this a main event? What makes this a match you have to sit down and spend time watching? Why? There is no reason for this. But I couldn't care less about Hangman Page and Swerve Strickland and their continuing rivalry. Why do I give a shit about that? Does anybody care about that? If you care about that, let me know in the comment section below. Why do you think that these guys drinking each other's blood and everything is good? I don't know. I don't think so. All right, the third match on the show, I guess the last thing on this list, is Konosuke Takeshita and his complete obliteration of Darby Allin. I mean, this was basically Takeshita deciding, I'm going to try out shit, and I'm going to use you as a crash dummy, which is pretty much every Darby Allin match. But especially this one. He did a Chaos Theory down the ramp, where he did like two rolling German suplexes on the ramp, which of course means he was outside the ring forever. He didn't get counted out. He also did an avalanche German suplex off the top rope to Darby Allin. I mean, Darby Allin is just committed to taking the dumbest fucking bumps possible. And you know what? Interesting bit. A lot like Kota Ibushi, right? Like all of these crazy bumps he's been taking, and he's not dead yet. He's not hurt yet. Just give it a few years, and it's going to be like a simple bump that's going to really ruin his career. He might throw a clothesline or something, dislocate his shoulder, and never really get back from it. That's usually what it is. You know, these guys take these amazing dumbass bumps in a match that really doesn't mean much of anything, and somehow, and they're not to finish, and then he started getting injured on simple things. Takeshita wins the match. I don't remember Darby Allin having much offense, if we're being honest. It seemed like almost like a squash match. Like they don't give a fuck about Darby Allin. But Darby Allin's trying to die, so he's trying to do suicide by wrestling. After the match, Don Callis challenged Sting and Darby Allin next week, and the Callis family team would be Hobbs and Konosuke Takeshita, which led me to say, hey, Powerhouse Hobbs, he's still there. Would be nice if they did something with him, but alas, they will not. So this was the full episode of Dynamite from front to back. Wasn't very good. Poor Wardlow. He's back to being a henchman. He's back in the same position that goddamn Luchasaurus is in, where they just basically stand behind the talking guy, and you're going to be the guy that's going to cough up the belt to me once you win it. You big galoot. Poor Wardlow. Why would he agree to be in the same position he was in 3 years ago? Why would you agree to that? This is dumb. No Moxley. He's not there. Is he on vacation? The return of Private Party that seems disjointed because it had nothing to do with anything else that was going on in the ring. They're trying to put over this Continental Crown thing, and then they immediately shit all over it of your hopes and dreams by deciding that the first contender is going to be Trent Beretta. Now, not anybody who actually matters, but Trent Beretta. It's like, all right, we might as well just throw it in the garbage now. Hangman Page and Swerve Strickland continue their feud, that hot blood drinking feud. I don't care to see that anymore. Adam Cole has tons of heat, but he can't wrestle, and he's surrounded by the likes of Mike Bennett and Matt Taven, which is no good. It's just no good. Bullet Club Gold still there. They're going to feud with them, I guess. I guess they turned in babyface. They're still trying to do this whole MJF's not here thing. I don't know. It just felt like there was no stars on this show. Like, nobody on this show felt like a star. I know Swerve is over and everything, but he didn't feel like a superstar on this show. Nobody did. Samoa Joe didn't even make a live appearance on this show. It felt like a COVID show where, all the stars are sick and they're not there. That's what it felt like. And they needed something strong coming out of the pay-per-view. And I don't think they got strong out of this. Takeshita looked great, finally. But other than that, I really didn't give a fuck about anybody else on this show. And that's a shame. That's a real shame. But the Undisputed Kingdom, boy, that's Spartan brand Undisputed Era, ain't it? Oh my God. Oh my God. That shit like Undisputed Era fan fiction. Oh my word. What do you guys think? I'll talk to you guys later, man. Peace.